What's going on, guys? Welcome to this new stream that I came up with Otaku here. It's called the Double Dragons, but it could change. The name could change. Here's Otaku, but it's just me and Otaku catching up, talking about stuff, talking about life, talking about pop culture, whatever comes to mind. But this is gonna be a new idea, a new stream for us. It could be called Double Dragon. It could be called something else, but just stay tuned. This is just a pilot episode of it. So just to get for us to get the bugs and kinks out of it. But what you been up to, Otaku?
Yeah, I just got back from New York for like a business thing. I was in Rochester for 4 days, and while I was there, I got to visit two comic book shops, and I had a great time hunting at these shops. Spent about $50 total, 20 at one shop, 30 at another. I picked up some really uh, cool books,
Okay.
and I can show that off a little later. But yeah, I was in New
Yeah.
York and I just got back last night, and that's about it. It's been pretty slow going all around. How about you? I know. So I want to talk to you. I mean, you know, I was really concerned because we were going to do this show
Yeah,
um,
last week.
last week.
But if you guys haven't heard, Florida went through a hurricane last week, and well,
We
that's
got two storms.
yeah, too. Helene and this one, but Helene wasn't too bad for
Yeah,
us.
Helene
But
was hit like Georgia, right, or something.
Yeah, yeah, but it was bad for the Georgia guys. But us, the second storm was the worst one. But over 100 years, 19, well, yeah, the 1900s was the last time something like this hit us like that. How it did, but it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't too bad for me. But if some other people had flooded, no power. All I had was no power for 3 days. I didn't get it back until probably like 8:40, 9 o'clock last week. So like 3 days without power. So lost it right at 9 o'clock on that day, and then didn't get power back until Saturday. So considered lucky because some people were 7 days without power. So
Dang.
yeah, so considered lucky. And then it's been 100 years since something like this has happened to Tampa in general. So, but yeah, I born and raised here, never seen nothing that bad. So, I mean, trees all over the place, power poles down on the ground, all kinds of down power lines, all kinds of stuff. So,
You
but
know,
it wasn't, yeah, it
it's
wasn't
funny because
horrible.
I remember we were chatting
Hmm.
and I was worried. I was worried about you, dude. I was like,
Yeah,
"Dude, they're saying it's going to be like a category 5 that's going to hit you, and they're
yeah,
putting out evacuation orders and all this." And I was like, are you going to evacuate? And you're just kind of like, "Nah, I've been through this before, and it's
yeah.
not going to be that bad."
Yeah, in '04 we went through six. So considering these are only two, but this is the worst one that's ever hit us though. But yeah, I mean, trust me, I was a little worried, but not so worried about where I had, you know what I mean. I'm in zone X. I'm not in zone A or B or C.
Okay.
That's when you gotta evacuate. Is
Yeah,
if
I
you're
didn't know
in
which
flood
zone you
zones.
were in, but I was like,
Yeah,
it looks like it's going to be pretty bad. And then yeah, like again, it was picking up speed, and then I was like,
yeah,
"Oh shoot, if it
yeah.
might hit as a category 5, but it died
Right.
down to like around a low 4, 3."
Yeah.
I'm glad everything's okay, that you're still with us, and
Yeah, yeah. Everything's dude, all of us were like, trust me, all the Florida guys were messaging each other back and forth, making sure everybody was okay. So
cool.
a lot of us just had no power, pretty much considered lucky. No power and trees all over the place.
Yeah.
And I see Robert and Sleepy Readers in the chat.
Oh,
And
what's up, Damien?
what's going on, Robert?
Robert, nice to see you,
Gee,
dude.
yeah, always nice to see him. I haven't talked to him in a while, but good to see you. Good to see both of you guys. Yeah, so yeah, it wasn't. I mean, I've been through like six, but six of them weren't as bad as this one. You know what I mean? Like that this one made up for all six. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like trees were down, power lines were down, flooding, and some people are still going through flooding because of the water, because the water has still hasn't some of the water still haven't receded yet,
Yeah.
and they
I
gotta
mean,
evacuate again.
yeah,
So
it wasn't just Florida. I mean, it hit Florida, but I mean, in terms of the impact, it like
yeah,
all up and down the East Coast, there's flooding
yeah,
and damage
yeah.
and people
Yeah, but
displaced. So,
that's Helene. Helene did it to Northern Carolina. Helene did it to
absolutely.
Georgia,
Yep.
and then like Rust. You know what I mean? Rust going through a hard time right now. Rust, the Super Rust 3000 is going through a hard time right
Is
now
that
because
right?
of
What
that.
happened?
Yeah, yeah,
His home
because
got damaged?
yeah, well, flooding. I think
Oh,
the
dear.
biggest thing was, yeah. So, and Russ is going through stuff up there, and a lot of people are going through stuff, man. It's like because of this Helene, Yep. If you live in Florida, you expect it. If you guys move to Florida and don't expect it, you guys are dumb as hell. I'm just being honest. If you guys are coming from, you know what I mean, California, moving down here, California has their thing is earthquakes. You know what I mean? So if you're gonna be moving to California, you better expect earthquakes. If you're moving
Do
to Florida, better expect hurricanes. You
do
know what
do
I mean? It's like,
collectors I worry about my collection when things like that happen. Do
yeah,
you and other collectors in that region, do you guys get insurance for your collections? Like, do
yeah,
you
we do. Well, I need to, but yeah, and then a lot of us get, yeah, insurance and stuff like that for flooding, for floods or whatever.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, it's minimum payments, and it's like a small policy, but the problem is it might not cover your big books. You know what I mean? That's the
Yeah, I mean,
issue.
and, you know,
Yeah,
th there's always a question of, like,
yeah,
what they're actually worth, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, but that's why it's good to, like, meet with, your
yeah,
insurance agent and communicate, "Hey,
yeah.
this collection's worth this much. I want coverage for it," and
Right, right.
but,
They have little things like that, and then where you make payments to it, and then
mhm.
it's same thing like a life insurance type thing. It's just it's a policy there, but it's
Wow. Yeah, because,
it's
like,
just,
this is the thing, like, people think obviously, your life
yeah,
and the people that you care about,
right.
um, that's the most important thing, right? And
Yeah, like, I mean,
then comes
the books,
property.
yeah, but books is, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
it's nothing,
Books
right?
were
Like,
second Books are secondary, but if you have important books, keep them if you know it's gonna be evacuation time, take them with you, you know what I mean? The
yeah,
ones that you
take your
really,
essential books with you, yeah, like, we
yeah,
all
like the
have
ones
that sort
you,
of,
yeah, yeah,
emergency kind of, like,
yeah,
box that
yeah, yeah,
you take with you, but
yeah,
because if you were to lose that or, like, that would just be so, I think, mentally, psychologically, if
yeah,
a storm like that obviously, if everybody's safe, that's where your focus should be. You should just be
right,
glad, but I could see that, being also a big loss if you were to
yeah,
lose your, like,
yeah,
like, valuable collectibles, things
right,
you spent, years,
right, mm,
putting effort into, and you lost that in a storm. I
yeah.
mean, that's huge. It's a
Yeah,
really, like,
that's heartbreaking. I
psychological.
mean,
Yeah,
honestly, but like I'm saying, you you either have to minimize it and figure out what you're gonna take with you, and then the most important one, like if it has sentimental value, most important ones to take
yeah,
with you. Even if it's an expensive book, if it doesn't have no sentimental value to you, it's not, you know what I mean? It's not worth
yeah,
whatever I mean, it might be expensive, but it not to the long run, it's not worth money. If you have memories behind it, I can understand,
yeah.
but I can
I
understand
know
if
what
it's
you're grabbing. You're grabbing the Vampy one, and it's
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, Vampy one, the Tally Ho, and then the Frank Frazetta book because that came from all the guy, everybody, all the guys and stuff. So
yeah.
yeah,
All
give
right,
me a
well,
second.
yeah, go
Let
ahead.
me go grab this phone real quick.
Yep, take the call. So yeah, Jeff and I, well, he's gone. Jeff and I we've been talking about doing something together for quite some time. Um, Mainly because we just wanted to uh, just connect more. Have like a set time where we're because we're both, he's busy, I'm busy, um, and we get these little snippets where he comes on the channel, or um, we just connect every now and then through chat or video chat, right? Uh, but having sort of a set time where we could check, not just check in, but like just connect and chat and um yeah, just really kind of uh have some time for ourselves to get to know one another and to really um yeah, I guess regularly check in on each other. And so we had kind of tossed around the idea of just doing something, but it's always hard to plan, like what are we going to talk about, or is it going to be a real show, you know and Jeff and I have really sort of like stark differences in terms of what we collect and what we like. So we're
Yeah, I
all
like lady books, and you like Jim Lee books. I know. That's the gist of our collection wise. You know what I mean? I mean, I like Jim Lee stuff too. Don't get me wrong, but I just like collecting. The only reason I even collect those books, the Vampirella stuff and all that other stuff, was
yeah.
because
Well, let's go over that. Let's go over, like just kind of talk about the things you feel. I already know, but for
right,
people like tuning in or watching us for the first time
right,
who don't know either you or me, let's kind of introduce ourselves
right.
and talk about what our interests are, what we collect. So go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys didn't know who I was, I'm the Cantonese comic kid, aka Jeff, aka Jeff Comic originally. So, and and other AKAs are the Cantonese Playboy, like everybody else wants to call me. So it's like I got a lot of nicknames, but I collect for Frank Frazetta stuff, Frazetta art in general, Frazetta comic book work. Um, a lot of people. Well, if you guys didn't know, I'm a people calling me the Vampirella expert, Frazetta expert. So collect Frazetta, collect Vampy, collect pretty much any lady books, Betty Page books, anything, pretty much anything scantily clad, like all they would like to say. But I mean, I just like strong female characters, pretty much, not just scantily clad characters.
Right.
But a lot of people think I just like scantily clad characters. But a lot of people don't know my first comic was a Marvel book, and it was a Venom, Carnage and Venom book. So and that was a Larry Hama book at that. So that was my first comic book. I was like 8 when I got it
Yep.
on a newsstand.
And
So
shout out to legend Larry Hama. Yep.
yeah, yeah, and then like everybody says, I didn't start out collecting lady books. I started collecting, collecting other stuff
Yeah.
before lady books. It's just I took a liking to the books because of the art. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because of Dave Stevens, because of Frazetta, because of these artists can draw women really well. Because it's not easy. You know what I mean? Trust me, it's not easy to draw. I can't even draw a stick figure. So, but
Yep.
a lot of people do. Yeah, like I said, if you're watching us for the first time, I'm a hardcore Vampy collector, hardcore Dave Stevens, anything bombshell ish, lady ish type books, even like and Frazetta books and Frazetta stuff. But I collect a little bit of everything. On being honest, I collect like childhood memories, like Big Trouble Little China stuff, like Lopan stuff, like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, because that's stuff that I like. You know what I mean? That when I was a kid, you know what I mean? Or
Absolutely.
I got raised by that movie. You know what I mean? And one of my favorite movies is Big Trouble. So
Yeah.
it's like a lot of people don't know, and everybody thinks I'm just like booby books. No, not really. It's just I I like the art. You know what I mean? I'm more art centric than anything. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
we love
Like
our books. We love our
yeah.
booby books.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you kind of hinted at when you started collecting. That was like like the mid '90s, like a lot of us were
Yeah.
collecting in
Yeah.
the '90s. Um, that was a really, I think, like that was a really good era to start collecting.
Right.
Um, what prompted you to start collecting comic books? Was there something that
Well, I didn't really start
you
hardcore collecting until I was like in my early 20s, like 20, 24, 25, 26. But I knew about comic books. My uncles, my uncles you collected a bunch of stuff, but they were, Cantonese comics, so manhwas and stuff like that. If you guys didn't know what manhwas are, it's the Cantonese version of comic books. So it's like the Dragon Tiger Gate stuff. If you guys ever seen it on Netflix, where Danny Yim and I forget the other guy's name, but yeah, that Dragon Tiger Gate. That's actually an Asian comic book. You
yeah,
know what I mean? A lot of people don't know.
yeah.
So it's like
I
just
remember
thinking
they
it's a
had
normal show. Yeah.
yeah, during like in the early '80s, or sorry, late '80s, early '90s, they had like Chinese comics coming out of I forget the publisher, but you always see it in back issue bins. I just remember
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
had I had a couple of those issues.
Yep.
What was it called? Like something
Feed.
fist. Like
Yeah, yeah, because it was called originally it was Dragon Tiger Gate in Hong Kong. That's
okay,
what it was. Actually, no. Originally, the English translation was three little it was Little Rascals. That's what it was. And then they changed to the Dragon Tiger Gate, and then they
Dragon.
changed it again, and then he changed it again. Trust me, I watched the history thing on manhwas and stuff. So he changed it again because the guy that created that Dragon Tiger Gate thing is pretty much like the Cantonese version of Stan Lee, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah,
He skirted around because Hong Kong and China ended up passing something where they couldn't show violence in like how we have the comics code or whatever.
hmm
So, but the only way he could show any of that, any of the fighting or any of that stuff, he went to newspapers. So he went the opposite way of what Stan did, and went to where he went to straight to comics, where he went to straight to newspaper. That's the only way he was able to publish any of that stuff. And
So I'm
then
looking at it's Jade Man Comics. Do you remember the Jade Man publishing?
yeah,
Yeah.
so they are he actually it's a subsidiary of the Cantonese version of that company. So yeah, I think it was Stars Canto. It was Star something, and then it became Jade something.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know a lot of stuff, not just booby books, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I remember when that came out, and I just was like, that. Those were actually really like action-packed comics.
See, the problem was my uncles all told me they loved American comic books, the Kanto comic books. The problem was art's beautiful, story sucked.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
yeah.
Art's great. The art's the art's like bright art, colorful. Oh, it's a lot of action. But
Yeah.
guess what? Story
Stories,
wise, blah.
stories sort of circular, right? It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
not dealing with a lot of themes outside of
Right, right.
avenging your family's death or something.
Avenging family's death, or it was just subpar. It's a subpar story compared
Yeah,
to what some of the American ones where where like Kingdom Come, where it's talking about other things besides.
yeah, yeah. So a little bit. So I'm glad we're touching upon our East Asian roots because
Right,
you're obviously uh, proud of those
yeah,
Hong Kong roots,
right,
and I kind of represent Korea, South Korea,
right, right,
and being married to a Japanese wife and living in Japan for several years. I definitely love manga. I know you love manga too. Everybody loves manga, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Manga
yeah.
is kind of like, and it's one of those things, kind of like comic books. It's manga has so much to offer.
Right. But
Everybody
it's
has,
the problem is manga's cheaper and a lot more material.
yeah, I agree.
That's the problem.
Yeah, yeah, I mean,
But the
the
problem
story. You
is
can make an
a lot
argument
of
that
people
the
don't
quality of
understand
storytelling is
how
better.
manga and how manhwas are made. Is it's a line of people doing it, but one person takes credit for it. But it's not that person that did most of that work. It's ghost artists and ghost writers a lot of
Yep,
the times. A
yep.
lot of people
They're
don't
able
know
to
that.
pump out a lot. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's why they're able to pump out like 120 freaking books
Yeah,
at once. And that's why, like my uncle said, the stories are subpar because it's so many people touching it. Oh, hey, can you do this panel for us? So it's another set of people, and then can you do this? So and then they put it together.
yeah.
So
No, it's, but at the end of the day, it's all comic books, right? It's like that medium of comic books that we all
right.
love. And I hope, as great as American comics are, I hope people
Hmm.
um, can enjoy the manhwa and manga coming out of, you
Yeah.
know, East Asia, because it really is. Uh,
Well, uh, I can tell you a couple of people that came from it because Archer. If you look at Archer style, Archer came from manhwa style because
Absolutely.
art, and then plus he wasn't he was there. There is early stuff from him from in Hong Kong. I think I
Yeah.
just gotta figure out how to find it, but I know because if you look at the work, it looks just like that stuff, that the manhwa stuff. If you look at manhwa and his work, it's similar. So it's like he came out like a lot of the guys that are coming up now, like a lot of the Korean guys coming up now, probably went through Hong Kong to do that, in general.
Yeah.
So
What's interesting though is like an artist like Peach Momoko. A
right,
lot of people consider her to be like anime style, manga style,
right.
and I'm of the argument that no, she wasn't
She's
part of that medium at all.
no, her style is way different
Way
compared if
different.
you
Yeah.
look at because if you look at Archer's and hers, it's two different styles.
Yeah.
So because Art Germs is more the manhwa style, so that's more, and
Absolutely.
then Peach is more, you
Just
know what I mean?
artistic.
It's
Yeah. She's kind of
art,
like
yeah, it's
this. Yeah.
way different. It's nothing
Yeah.
because originally I didn't like her stuff, and then I started to like it a little more. But there was some of the stuff I didn't like. But if you think about it, a lot of people didn't like a lot of people, you know what I mean? A lot of people's stuff. But it's like
Yeah.
her style grows, and then my respect for her grew a little bit of when she went to New York. I think it was a couple of years ago where she went to New York and she got tired and said, I'm not signing no more," or something or another. Something happened where she got upset, and the only way it was translating was her husband was the one translating for her.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the issue is like the new X-Men book that she's writing, she's doing the art and she's writing it. But the problem is them translating the book. They translate it to English. The issue is lost in translation sometimes,
Yeah.
probably. So some of the I think some of the stuff is lost in translation sometimes.
What I appreciate about Peach is here's this just absolutely talented artist. She could have gone into
Right,
like fine art, right? She could have done
right.
that. But um
She could still do that.
she could
So
still do it. Yeah, absolutely right.
because Frazetta started out in comics and then
Yeah,
he went into fine art. So you never
yeah,
know. She could, you know what I mean? So
absolutely.
if you pick up if you're picking up some of her stuff now, hold on to it because you never know.
Yeah.
Because because
What I love,
nobody figured out that Frank would end up doing that. So it's like, you
yeah.
know what I mean?
So
So
she I mean, she's so I think people need to put her into the right context. She's a
yeah,
very talented artist,
artist. She's
but
not just a
she's not a
comic book
yeah,
artist.
she's not a comic book artist, and that's what people
Right,
don't realize.
right,
Like if you look at manga and what manga is,
right.
she doesn't know
Yeah,
that medium.
right.
But
Nope.
but what she's done brilliantly is like she's accepted like, you know what? People love me in the American comic book medium. like she's just so highly regarded,
Probably
and
pays her more.
yeah, she's,
Yeah.
she's accepted her. This is her career now,
Right.
and before she was doing a bunch of covers and all that, and then she basically like was like, I can do these panels, I can do panel artwork,
Right.
and she pumped out some of the most, I think, innovative panel work we've seen in quite
Right.
some time,
A long time.
a long time, and they're just very simple.
Right.
And then also what she's done is she has adopted the manga style. I think she's
Right.
now gone back and looked at her predecessors in the manga industry, and
Right.
she's like, okay, I can incorporate all this stuff. And so her style is definitely like anime manga now.
Evolving. It's actually
It's evolved. Yeah.
yeah.
Before I was like, no, she's not doing manga style at all. Now she's
Right.
very much doing manga style.
Yeah.
And the panel work she's doing in X-Men, and it's merging the two cultures really. And I think
Right.
it's brilliant.
But like I was saying, she's actually who I have look, Artyom hasn't done it yet. And a lot of the guys are doing a lot like Jay Lee, all of these guys are doing covers and stuff like that, but they haven't did interiors. That's the biggest thing is interiors take time. So that's much respect for her is that she's doing the covers, she's writing it, and she's doing the panel work.
Yeah.
That's two things that she's doing that taking out a lot more time for her. She could be going to other cover to cover, you know what I mean? She could be doing covers instead. And that covers pay what I've heard, covers pay better. You know what I mean? So she could be just doing covers, but she's doing cover, interior work, you know what I mean, and writing it. That's three things that none of her predecessors are doing. Artyom's not doing that.
Yeah.
Jay Lee, none of the, not that I know of. Miko Suyan, none of those guys are. They're all they're known for is covers.
Yeah.
I've never seen them do interior. I mean, I don't know for sure, but you know, I've never heard or I've never seen them do interior work.
Yeah. And her work is really unique, even in the manga space.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Manga artists do not use brush pen to do panel work. They work in the same medium as American comic
brush pens aren't easy to use.
They're not.
That ink gets hard really quick.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know, it's not like
if you're doing like a page, it really leaves little room for error. Like if you're doing a large image, right?
Right.
It's easier to like make a mistake here or there, but when you're doing these like tiny panels and you're doing it,
but the biggest problem with those things is they dry so fast, it gets so damn hard, and then you have to go dip it again, and then stroke for stroke again. So it's like
there's a lot of thought that process that goes. So you got to kind of, I'm sure she's sketching out most of it now,
right,
and then just finishing, kind of finishing with the brush, but she's very deliberate with.
Right.
So it's a different process. Like if she does a cover, you can see sort of like I've seen her do covers, and she has this very free flowing style about. It's very.
When she first started, I made fun of it. Being honest, I wasn't a fan at first, and then she grew on me a little. But I'm still on the fence about her, but I respect her a little bit more than I did. You know what I mean? It's just a lot of people don't respect her stuff. I've noticed. You know what I mean?
I think that's a fair argument. I think
you
either love Peach Momoko's work
or super dislike it,
or like whatever. It's not that great. And I think the people that say it's not that great are the they're more old school type. Like this is what comic book art should look like, and they're
but if you guys, the biggest issue, if you guys don't grow, guess what happens? It stays the same, and we don't want, a lot of us don't want that, man. It's like if the art can't grow, guess what? It stays stagnant, it stays the same, and you guys are gonna get tired of that. You know what I mean? It's like it's not gonna be great. You know what I mean? So it's like
Frazetta is a great example of like, taking it to another level. And so you have these artists that like Alex Ross is another great example, right?
Right.
Like, these guys don't follow that mold of like, with a hatching style.
Like Robert says, I like her and I'm old.
Okay.
Yeah, you're the exception. I'm just
No, I think so. Again, like you'll look at somebody like Bernie Wrightson, right?
right,
Neil Adams, these people who are just legends in this
right,
medium. But then people who stretch the medium, people like Frazetta, people like Alex Ross, people
right,
like
right,
Peach, who have their really
right,
unique sort of like styles that pop out and are
right.
really visually, kind of like at a higher level, right? In
What?
terms of the
Yeah, since we're talking about like the Lucio Perillos, like don't get like I would love to see, but I know he won't have the time because he does so many covers and he does paintings. He doesn't do.
yeah,
It looks like a cover,
hard
but
to
it's actually a
translate.
whole.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is why
but
when Ross was
yeah,
doing panel work and
right,
when he came out with like Kingdom Come and his
right,
early work, it
right,
was like, oh my goodness, this guy's
right.
like doing this, and it's just storytelling at such a
But
high level, right?
he's another one where nobody expected him to do panel work,
Yeah,
and then he ended up doing panel work. It's like he raised the bar to comic books because nobody expected the interiors to be just like
yeah.
the cover.
No one could really do what he was doing except him.
Right.
It's you see the Alex Ross style more and more now, but it's still
Right.
no
Yeah,
one's
because
really getting.
Perillo is another one
Yeah,
that's like Ross. And then yeah, Perillo, Carla Cohan, his wife,
and a bunch of people doing Peach's style now. Have you
yeah,
noticed that? Yeah, it's
yeah,
like
and then Peaches,
there's a
yeah, and
Marvel
Peaches
sport.
style is
Yeah,
yeah, more people are doing Peaches style, and then but then the the double edge on this now is digital age is everybody's been talking about it, the AI part of it.
AI stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the AI stuff, and it's an issue because all you have to do is speak into it these programs now, and it throws something
Render an
together.
image. Yeah, yeah.
You're rendering an image, and then like, well, yeah, there's a couple of people that caught an artist like a last week or a couple 3 weeks ago or so, where nobody knew who the artist was, and then if everybody was saying this image was an AI image, and everybody, and then some of the people did some digging and found the image,
Yeah.
and he actually just added blood to the image to whoever the artist was. No, nobody knew and nobody caught. And the worst part is these people at DC, these guys at other publishing companies were supposed to catch that type of stuff where they didn't catch it, and they ended up liking it and publishing it, but they didn't know. So it was like that's an issue. It's like they don't know.
So Jeff, New York City Comic Con is going on right now, and we were
Right,
talking about Peach Momoko. You
right.
remember that you I think hinted to the controversy that she was embroiled in from a few years ago.
Yeah,
She made an appearance. Was I think she was going to sign up to 5 books for free, right?
yeah, but
Which
and then everybody and their mom brought short boxes, and she got fed up with it, and she said no.
well, yeah, like a lot of the people in the lines were people who
Yeah,
were there uh,
just
as part of the show, right? They were
yeah, vendors, I think.
vendors, yeah,
Yeah,
and they were cutting in line apparently, and like
yeah,
having her
yeah,
sign all this stuff, and the people that were actually paying for the show
yeah,
were kind of like, "Hey, what's going on?" And then
yeah,
I guess there were some like fights that broke out around her, and she got
yeah,
scared and then canceled
yeah,
the thing, and it was just a horrible like
yeah,
mess. But now, today or this week, because New York City Comic Con
yeah.
is going as we speak, she and Todd McFarlane apparently released a Spawn limited, limited edition
Yeah,
signed Spawn
yeah,
cover, which is I think the worst thing you could do to make that whole situation rear its ugly head again.
yeah,
I saw the line for that book because there are
yeah.
only 300 copies. They're only giving away 300 copies.
That's well, I'll tell you how some of this works. It's not just 300 because they print over more than 300, but it's always what what's in the good shape, that's three. That's it. That's the 300. They say they have.
Well, no,
They have.
it's serial numbered for signatures. I'm sure they have
Okay.
more of the books,
Right.
but the
Right.
actual signature
Oh,
serial
okay.
numbers is
Okay. It's 300. Okay. I'll
Yeah.
go. But if it's only 300 books, it's not really 300 books. It's probably a couple extra hundred to make sure print. It actually prints okay and it doesn't have dings
So
and
you got
stuff.
100,000 people walking through New York City
Yeah.
Comic Con over the 4 days it runs, right? And
Yeah.
you only have 300. Imagine what what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you got to protect your copy. I could see people
Yeah. Yeah.
like trying to get
That's
that
why
in the
you bring.
parking lot.
Yeah. That's why you bring those portfolio boxes and just throw it in the portfolio box and throw it in your bag.
Yeah.
But the problem is, MegaCon, New York Comic Con, San Diego has that same issue. You can't walk around with a bag. The problem is the bag. Either you're gonna hit people with the bag, or either people's gonna hit you with with their
Yeah.
bags. So it's like that's the biggest issue is not enough room, and more every year it gets bigger.
You got to have your Jim Lee Hex Comic Con backpack.
I do got
looks
one.
like
That's the
a
problem.
bowl.
That's the problem. I have one. I have one, and it's still, and it's good, but it's still you're still hitting people with the bag because when you stop and go look for books, you have to take the bag off.
You say you got to get one of these babies.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Let's keep your books in here.
yeah.
So we'll show. All right. Well, you and I are not new to the con scene. We've been around the
No,
block.
yeah.
What were some of the cons you hit this year?
We hit Heroes in the sun. Oh yeah, we hit Heroes. I saw
about that.
Otaku for
Yeah.
yeah. I hit Heroes. Saw Otaku for like 5 minutes, and then and I ran. Well, I didn't run off. I ran off with the other guys, and then saw Otaku one more time. But it was talking
mean
to people and drawing. Yeah,
You saw Naman, yeah.
yeah.
Or
Naman. My bad. Not you. I always get. Yeah, but yeah, saw him, and then. He picked up Russ and what was it and Roger and everybody else.
Mhm.
So it was fun. Heroes is if you're a comic book person, Heroes is the con to go to pretty much if you're on the East Coast.
On the East Coast, yeah, it's hard for West Coasters. That I wanted to go for sure.
Yeah,
I wanted to go. It's just
Yeah, but Heroes is Heroes hands down is a collector's con. It's not pop culture. It's not nothing. It's all comic books. Like a lot of vendors, dude. You need all 3 days just to go to every vendor if you want to, because every vendor has books. Every vendor has different. Dude, there was Golden Age books that I've never seen before that were there. I've never had a place where it had every booth almost had a Vampy. I mean, every booth. You know what I mean? Almost every booth. Yeah, so it's like every booth had all different style books. You know what I mean? Anybody's type books. Even Jim Lee books if you wanted.
I'm sure I'd find a crap load of Jim Lee books.
You're right. Yeah. Oh, hey, I don't got this book, and then oh yeah, I got it. Or I know some. Or I know a guy down there that has it. Or trust me, like
it points you in the right direction, especially the rarer books. Yeah, those are always hard to find. What'd you pick up?
I picked actually. I'll show you now. I actually got one of them near me right now. I actually picked up a Japanese edition Vampy. So make myself. Yeah.
Let's see it.
I had the Heroes. So yeah. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, second. Issue 2 of the Vampies that came from over there. So Frazetta and all kinds of stuff is in this one. It's not just Vampy stuff. It's a little bit of everything in it. So
yeah,
like all the Warren stuff in it. Pretty neat. The first issue is actually a white cover with the famous her with the bat, like the famous pose with the bat.
Mm-hmm.
So pick this up. I was surprised to even see it over there. So normally online it goes for a pretty penny, and then I got a pretty decent deal on it. So
very nice. Yeah.
And then I picked up a Joe Jusko book, one of these, and the painting actually went on here. The actual original went on Heritage,
Oh,
and
nice.
actually had Joe just go sign it,
Dang, nice.
and got to meet him. That was cool. That was first time ever meeting him. Yeah. So
That's
that
a badass
yeah
cover.
yeah, and that original actually went up on the Heritage in June. And
Ooh,
sold. I forgot how much it sold for, but it sold for a lot.
for
It
sure.
was
Yeah.
one of his originals. It was one of Joe's originals, so it sold for a pretty penny. Yeah, I picked up a couple other things, but I can show that in a little bit. But and that that was a little bit of stuff that I picked up at Heroes. I'm gonna go to a con tomorrow. Our con that we go to every a little con that we go to every year. So I'm gonna go hit up a con tomorrow. So
Cool.
yeah, we do cons everyone. Yeah, yeah, we hang out. We'll hit up shops. We'll do cons and stuff. But yeah, that the biggest fun part is just to hang out with everybody, man. Being honest, that the finding books and all that other stuff is secondary compared to the fun that we already have. That we already bull crap around and stuff. That's the fun part is just getting food and just talking.
Hanging out, yeah, chilling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that is fun.
Yeah, that's the fun part of it. The annoying part is is the is bumping in people who don't got deodorant on at cons or all kinds of other stuff.
Was Jim Lee at Heroes this year?
Uh-uh.
No.
If he was at Heroes, forget it. What was it? Starlin was at Heroes. A lot. Jenny Frizen was at Heroes.
Nice.
Um, Scotty Young almost every year. Like a lot of these guys love this con, so every year Scotty Young, Joe Jusko this year, um, Junior. What the hell is it? Junior. I can't remember. Vermita Junior was at it. So yeah, a bunch of people went. A bunch of curators, a bunch of vendors, and yeah, you know what I mean. The creators.
Alex Ross was there, right?
Uh-uh.
No, he wasn't there.
No. Actually, Larry Hama was there. Got to meet Larry Hama, and then let's see, Joe Jusko already said. Yeah, there was a bunch like even bunch. Dude, it was creator wise and vendor wise. I've never seen so many creators and vendors at this at the con. So it was it. I mean, and it was nice. It had room. I could stretch out and not hit nobody. That's how nice it was. Not at MegaCon. You go like this and you're smacking people in the head.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about Emerald City, because I go to Emerald City whenever
Right.
there's like people I want to see there. But not that it's crowded. It's nothing like San Diego or
Right. But it's still considered
yeah,
a
it's
big
still
con, and
kind of
it's
like
still yeah.
a
It's
little
still
bit.
shoulder to shoulder. You know what I mean? It's like you can't go this way or you can't go that way.
Right.
But Heroes, the lanes are wide enough where you can actually move and not actually hit nobody. So it's kind of nice. But maybe
And
because
Emerald
it's
City is not the best comic, like you said, like for the vendors. There's just not a lot of
yeah.
comic
But the
sellers.
biggest thing is all those type of cons are pop culture cons. They shouldn't call themselves Comic Cons. It's more pop culture than anything.
Yeah.
It's
cosplay. It's like
everything
else except comics.
Yeah, it encompasses everything because the comic vendors can't afford a $3,000, $4,000 table, $5,000 table just to set up and then not even break bank to make whatever
they're dressed up, but they're
right.
not buying books.
Or people are buying books but not buying enough where they can. They still got to pay for their hotel or whatever, you know what I mean? So it can't, and not just counting the vending at that booth is that money, and then counting the hotel for 4 days, you know, 5. Let's just say it's 4. Like they gotta cheapen $100 a day or something like that, or the expensive was like $1,400. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? It's like,
That's a lot of money. Yeah,
but I'm just saying, it's either or. It's a lot of money for those days. They
absolutely.
have to fit. They have to make the money back. So it's hard for them to even say, hey, let's go to this con and try to make our money back.
Yeah,
When it thought, you know what I mean? When other cons are offering you less money, smaller con, you know what I mean? Or like Heroes is just comic books and then doesn't have no cosplay, doesn't have no. I mean, it has cosplayers, but it doesn't have as many. You know what I mean? Where cosplayers, and you know what I mean. But it's actually a comic con. It's not actually pop culture con where oh, this movie star is going to be here. That this person's going to be here.
yeah.
So,
I know some of those. I know you like have a couple photos you've taken with some of the Vampy cosplayers and the
yeah,
people that are kind of high profile, social
yeah.
media.
Consider social media. Yeah, like the Faces by Raichi. You know her. That's where the moniker Cantonese Playboy came from because it was what that picture and then a couple other ones and yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it wasn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't the whole, I mean, yeah. So I like cosplay. Don't get me wrong. I like cosplayers. I like pop culture stuff. It's just, I wish those cons would actually, do actually
yeah.
uh,
I
uh,
think what you're seeing is like a
cater.
divergence.
Yeah,
You are seeing like comic cons are no
right.
longer the shows that collectors go to, but it's now
Yeah,
comic shows. Like the just
right,
comic
right.
focused stuff. And there,
Yeah,
that's. I mean, you mentioned there's something. I think there's a Bellingham show this weekend here locally,
right,
and there's one coming up Grit City in Tacoma in a few weeks. And these
right.
are. Well, I mean, if you were to cosplay in this at those venues,
Yeah.
you can do it, but you're not the main. You know,
Attraction.
yeah, you're not the main target group. The main
Right,
target group in
right,
those shows are like people like us,
right,
right? People
right,
that with like a list, and you're
right,
running around asking, "Hey, do you have this book? Do you have that book?" But yeah,
right. Right. Yeah. It's because a lot of it's more pop culture than anything. You know what I mean? It's not really, other things than that.
yeah. All right, so
That's all right. That's all
there's
right.
been let's get into some I guess news. What are some of the things, headlines and stuff that you
What
find interesting? You want to kind of throw out
what
ideas?
you actually showed me last week where they got they actually cast not Hal Jordan
John Stewart, yeah,
John Stewart. And I mean, he's a pretty dude for being John Stewart, but I mean, he's not. Well, what I can remember, I think John Stewart was an ex-military person, so I can't see him as you know what I mean, ex-military or whatever he's supposed to be, but it's cool, you know what I mean. I'll I'm interested. I'll watch it if anything, but yeah, the other news is the Joker got beat out by a horror movie by Terrifier 3. I'm not and by another clown. So that's pretty funny and that's pretty interesting that a small indie horror film that came out in COVID time. And the second one was the biggest thing was people were like The Exorcist, where people were like walking out, thrown up, or whatever else. So that gave them enough, momentum to get into last week, where it came out last week and actually beat the Joker, and it was actually surprising. But it wasn't surprising. A lot of people said the Joker wasn't great. You know what I mean? Saying Lady Gaga couldn't act, or it shouldn't have had a musical in it or whatever. So not surprised that a horror movie actually beat it. It's in October. What'd you
yeah,
expect? You know what I mean?
yeah.
People want to watch horror movies. You know what I mean? It's Joker ain't a horror movie. Joker's just a crazy person that became the Joker, pretty much.
Yeah, I never watched the first one.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
I heard it
it
was pretty
wasn't
good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was good, but the way they did the second one, I heard, was not good. A
Okay.
lot of people said not. That's why I'm just waiting for it to come on streaming. I'm not gonna pay for it and
Yeah.
watch it like that because if it's not worth it, I'm not. I'm not paying for it.
I do support though. Like, I think they should do more with standalone movies for villains.
Right,
You know.
right. But
Um,
or they should just do standalone in general and stop trying to make a universe for everything, where
Great point. Yeah.
Marvel is still trying to connect everything again. Why
Yeah.
don't you just keep it separated? It's like you guys had it originally, and then connect it later. You know, don't have to connect it right away, but just keep it all separated and then because it could be a multiverse thing, you know what I mean? Like they did that, but they screwed it up, and everything's coming out now. Everybody expects it. There's supposed to be an after credit, after credit, after credit. Did so many damn after credits that everybody sits there and expects after credits on every movie. Not even just those movies, even normal movies. They expect after credits now. Says everybody's loving Marvel stuff, so everybody expects after credits at a horror movie, at a at a normal movie, and they sit to the end. So it's like,
Yeah.
so they mess people up. That's all I got to say.
Well, I
Is
think
they mess.
DC's plan is to connect everything. DC wants
Yeah, I
the
understand they
yeah.
want to, but they? I don't think so because you guys came into the game too late already anyways. But at least start it where it's separated for now and then
Yeah,
connect
build
it
it up. Yeah,
later.
you like build
Yeah,
it, build the silos first,
yeah,
and then integrate it later.
right,
Yeah,
right. But
I'm
that's what
down.
I think that's what Gunn's gonna do. I hope that's what he's gonna do is Superman now, this person, that this hero, that hero, and then later down, like a couple of years down the line, oh hey, I'm coming out with a Justice League movie, and then they're already all all these, it's all the same characters, but
Yeah. Well,
we know that
I
now.
think there's a bunch of I think there's a bunch of characters in Superman. I think they're bringing like there's rumors that
Mr. Fantastic, I heard. Not Mr. Terrific. I always get
Mr.
Terrific and
Terrific's in
Fantastic.
it,
Yeah, yeah,
Guy Gardner's in it,
yeah.
but Brainiac's in it, Lex Luthor's in it. So like there's just like
Right,
already you've got sort of an integrated DC
right,
universe,
right,
which is good. I think that's good to
right,
start off, but the
right.
focus is Superman.
But I'm just hoping it's not another Superman origin. You know what I mean? Like every other freaking movie where, hey, this is his origin. 5 minutes
Everybody
or
knows the
10,
origin,
15,
right? Yeah.
yeah, 45 minutes of the movie is his freaking origin, and then the next 45 minutes it's all action. I'm like, maybe skip the origin because almost everybody and their mom knows what his origin is. All you know what I mean. So it's like toss the origin out and just go with hey, this is us. This is like action comics type thing. Where hey, this is a Superman story, and just go with it, and just expect
I
it.
think actually the origin Superman's origin is going to differ a little bit this time around because
Right,
we already know
right,
like they're going to introduce Kara, Supergirl,
right,
and they're also going to introduce Crypto, his dog.
right,
So the origin of these characters have to be integrated into this larger story, which is I think going
right,
to be great. So I think we're going to get sort of this like assumption. I don't know how they can build in those
right. I mean, as
histories.
long as people know he's already Superman already, and not, hey, this is how he became Superman,
Right. Yeah.
but here's Superman, but here's Kara, and here's
Yeah.
here's
And
Crypto.
Gunn is brilliant at doing that. Gunn is
Right,
brilliant at like just through the dialogue, like, hey, you just came to this planet 3 years ago from the Krypton
right,
um, colony or whatever, like,
right,
and
right,
that, and then people just know it. People that
right,
that's her backstory, right? They don't. You don't have to
right,
go through this whole film montage of
right, right.
flashbacks and stuff. So yeah, that's good.
That's the biggest thing is, Yeah, let's hope he does. Let's see what he does. If he does it like the Guardians of the Galaxy type thing, maybe that's gonna be good. Maybe he's we don't know yet. So we don't know nothing yet. Is Gunn's getting ready to do that?
Yeah.
It's the issue is we don't know yet. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like
Do you want to see a Vampy
people.
movie? Vampy come to the big screen?
Yeah, I would like to. I have a couple actresses in mind
Yeah.
that wouldn't mind playing her. Like
You know what
the
I'd love to see?
uh,
I'd love to see them. Uh, I'd love to see Fire and Ice. I mean, this is just throwback
yeah,
to Frazetta.
yeah,
I'd
right.
love to see them do like a high. What is it? Like a
High fantasy,
no, like a high definition
right,
um, remastering of Fire, like where you actually
right,
take the animation and you
right,
like digitize it and redo the
right.
whole animation.
I mean, Sarah might have something like that in the works, maybe down the line sometime, but I don't know that for sure. But I'm just assuming it might be. But I know, what was it? I know they were gonna come up with a live action version of it, but and
No, it's got to
the
be
studio,
animation, dude. It's got to be
yeah, yeah,
animation, and it's got to be Frazetta's original
right,
work. They just got because first of all, it was already
right.
like ahead of
It
its
was
time.
Frazetta and Batchy anyways. So
Yeah,
the biggest thing was but the issue was it was rotoscoping, and and he hated it. He didn't like the rotoscoping idea of it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
He was showing the females how to be female, or how to do everything. So it was
that
interesting
was
to
yeah,
see. Yeah, it was interesting, but the biggest issue is the what was it? Robert Rodriguez was trying to come up with a live action version. He's trying to, and the biggest issue is the studios don't want it. The studios, he really wants it, but studios are saying no, they don't want to fund it. But
mm,
the biggest thing is it'd be kind of neat to actually, because you guys funded a Conan, same idea. This thing is the same idea. It's just the issue is casting. The issue is the funding part of it is
yeah.
just how much funding
I
are they
don't
going to
think
be?
again. I think if you were to bring it to, as a live action, it would lose its appeal for me, just me
Right,
personally. 'Cause
right, right, right.
I don't think the story is all that great. Fire. I
Well,
mean,
if you haven't, there's the comic book. It's a prequel before that, so
okay.
before the movie. So the book, the issues are coming out, and now that's the main reason I've been picking up. But the the biggest thing with Sarah is the art has to stay consistent.
Yeah.
So the issue now is that the issues are coming out really slow,
Mhm.
but you guys are gonna really like it when it comes out in volume form, when it comes out in trade form,
Nice.
because it's gonna be a lot more of extra material in it. But and the person that writing it is actually the one that wrote Fables. Was the guy that
Mm,
wrote Fables, and
oh,
then
nice.
he's writing the Fire and Ice story, and it's actually decent, and I actually I've been enjoying it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited that when it comes out in trade, I'm gonna pick it up in trade.
Yeah.
But I'm picking up the single issues and I'm still enjoying it. It's just issues are taking a little longer than expected, but that's because of the artist. And the artist is a perfectionist. So you know what I mean? So he says, oh, I can do this better, and then it takes a little bit, but it's worth it because the art is gorgeous in it. So
Yeah.
it
Let me
one
walk that
thing,
what I meant. I don't mean to say Fire and Ice was a horrible story. No, it's a great
right,
story.
right, right,
I'm
right.
saying like
But you
in
want
terms
it
of
in
the
cartoon,
art. The art is what really drove that medium.
right?
When you watch Fire
And
and Ice,
that's the rotoscoping for you.
yeah,
That's the that because back then nobody knew what rotoscoping was, and then rotoscoping was something new. And I don't know if she would do it if Batchy and her would be talking about maybe going to digitizing it and see what happens. But it might not digitize well. You know what I mean? It might not transfer well. That's the problem. Is that might be the issue? Is I'm not really sure. So I mean, that would be something we would have to ask her if she
yeah.
ever comes on.
that
Yeah,
again,
that.
I think that would just be like something if they announced something like that they
Mhm.
were remastering, like, digitally remastering Fire and Ice, I'd be
Right.
like, I'd be all in. I'd be like, yes, finally. It's
Right.
just such a
I mean, that would be cool to see it actually see it actually remastered and everything. But if none of whoever's watching this never watched Fire and Ice before,
yeah,
you can actually find it on YouTube free.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
actually free on YouTube.
You know,
So
another thing, they could really make a lot of improvements on is the soundtrack and the audio,
right,
right? You can
right,
obviously do a lot there to improve it
right,
because it's very basic
right,
audio and music for that, and you could just build a lot of scale and depth into
right.
the sound.
Now, yeah, now.
Yeah, now,
Back then, for what it was actually, pretty good for back
yeah,
then.
yeah,
But I wouldn't mind seeing it, upgraded. Wouldn't mind seeing it, I wouldn't mind seeing it a little cleaned up and see what would happen. I mean,
yeah.
honestly, you never know. So, and
Yeah, I think it would be well, it would be something I would want to see. I don't know if I can't speak for the mass. Yeah, I can't speak
yeah.
for the
But
mass market.
if anybody's a Frazetta fan, will
Right,
want to see it. You know
right.
what I mean? Or anybody that's a high fantasy type person or a Conan type person is gonna
Yeah,
want to see this.
absolutely.
But a lot of them want to see a live action version of it too. So, you know what I mean? And she's been talking about it for forever. Where Robert Rodriguez has been wanting to do that, and he's one of the biggest Frazetta fans. He has a lot of Frazetta originals, so that's the biggest thing is that she wants people that are
I know everybody in our little sphere would want
yeah,
to see it for sure.
yeah, everybody in our
Yeah,
that's into Conan, into any
in
like
comic books, really. Yeah.
yeah, into comic books in general are gonna want to see it. Like
What other
I
thing
picked
would
up
you? What other thing, if you could just have a magic wand and could bring something to the silver screen from comic books, what would you want to see?
actually being honest, I wouldn't mind either Lady Death or a Eva Ernie movie. That would be kind of cool. Uh, the Vampy's a definite. You guys already know that. But let's see. Another one I wouldn't mind seeing. It's one of Robert's favorites. My favorites. Cry for Dawn. The Dawn character. I wouldn't
Okay.
mind seeing in live action.
Yeah.
Even Tom Selleck's character, Hack and Slash, where she fights slasher characters, where she fights the Michael Myers, those type of characters.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing her in live action. Like a lot, there's a lot of stuff that like there's one comic that I really enjoy, and it was that Donny Cates one, God Country. I wouldn't mind seeing God Country as a live action or animated,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing it live action because I already have a perfect casting for the old guy. It was John Goodman before he lost all that weight, but it would have been fun. It would have been fun to see him as the main character. Yeah,
That's assuming that's Fire and Ice, right? Yeah.
yeah,
It is a
and
masterpiece.
yeah, and then could the cry, you know what I mean? The Cry for Dawn series would be interesting. The yeah, see, like yeah, yeah, yeah. But like I said, if I could flick a magic wand, being honest, it'd be the vampy stuff. Being like,
Of course.
but that's all my that's my end because
And I don't. I think it will. I think you'll eventually see it.
yeah
We're
because
eventually going to see it. I don't know why we haven't seen it already, but
well there is a '90s one. There is a
was
'90s.
there? Okay.
Yeah, there is a '90s one, and if you ever watched the
Was it
Mortal
like a?
Kombat,
Was it like a? Like a soft porn version? That would.
no, it was a B movie type.
Okay.
It was like what was it? Roger Corman was supposed to originally do it, and then Roger Corman backed out, and then another guy ended up doing. They because they had a couple of actresses that they had in mind. They wanted like a original Playboy model to do it, and then they wanted, what was it? They wanted a couple of models to do. They wanted a couple of girls to do, a couple of females to do it, and then they landed on that. If you ever watched the Mortal Kombat movie in the '90s, the one that played Katana, that lady actually played Vampy.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, so she actually played Vampy, and then the outfit was interesting because I understood why they chose it in the first place. Because if you think about it, if a female maneuvered, try to fight in that type of outfit, it wouldn't have stayed. So I can understand why they changed it, but a lot of people are gonna go, hey, that's the icon, that's an iconic outfit. So
You can't change it.
and
Yeah.
yeah, you can't change it though.
The
But the
boob pops
biggest
out. The boob pops out, man. You can't.
no, not only that, but the biggest issue is everybody figures it was a guy that it was a guy that created the outfit. They thought Frazetta created the outfit. He didn't create the outfit. It was actually a female that created the outfit. It was Forrest J. What was it? It was Trina Robbins that actually created the outfit because the whole story was Trina told the story before where she was sitting in in Jim Warren. It's either James or Jim. James Warren's office because she was trying to get a job at the time to draw or whatever.
Oh, so she actually designed it.
She was sitting in the office. Frazetta called him and goes, "Hey, I'm just gonna put a normal swimsuit on Vampy or whatever." Or they I don't think they had a name just yet. They said, "This character you want me to create, I'm just gonna put a normal bikini on her." So she overhears and hears what he wants, and she draws it up, and he goes, hands him the paper, and hey Frank, I got somebody I got somebody that knows what I want, so here they talk to her or whatever. So they talk to each other. So the story goes is that swimsuit kept getting smaller, or the neckline kept getting smaller, and the neckline kept getting longer and longer.
Yeah.
Because originally the neckline was only probably half, like a V, like a half V, but I think Frazetta just tried to try to piss her off more and more, and got it lower and lower. And then the other story is that when they created her, the owner wanted James Warren wanted brunette. He wanted a blonde.
Oh no, it wouldn't have worked at a blonde. No, not at
all. But he still got his blonde. But that was issue 2, where they introduced her sister, and her sister is Draculina, and she's a blonde. Yeah. So they compromised where they went, hey, make her a brunette, and then I'll give you a blonde later down the line. And then come to find out, another story about this is that Forrest J. Ackerman, the other guy that created, there's 3 people. It's a group of people that created her, but Forrest J. Ackerman liked that cover like that Vampy 1 cover so much, had somebody else recreate it with the blonde, with her sister. So there's a painting out there, out there somewhere. It's Draculina. It's not Vampy. So I'm interested to see. It's the same pose, and supposedly nobody's seen it. Only a couple people have seen that painting, and they say it's the same pose. It's just her. It's just the blonde. It's just, but Frazetta didn't create it. Forrest J. Ackerman had somebody else recreate that painting. So it'd be interesting to see where it's at now, or if it's sold as a personal collection, or if it's, somebody just discarded it after Forrest J. passed away, because I'm not sure if he had any family or anything like that. So I would like to know where it ended up. Like, I would love to, if I had the money to do that, I would love to research and go find where that went. So a lot of the interesting stuff. There's there's a lot of stuff that I've read about in books, not just internet stuff. Some of the artists that used to do her, like Jose Gonzalez, a famous, artist that everybody knows him for Vampy. So he did some interior panels that are that are rejected from here. So he sent them here. Forrest J rejected them, or well, no, James Warren rejected it. They sent it back, but they got published. They never got published. So those are some lost Vampy stories that I wouldn't mind actually tracking down and seeing what happened to them, or if anybody's have them in their files somewhere. Those are some unknown, you know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that I've done. I want to do videos on. It's just hard for me to do video like these live streams are easier because I can talk about it. Just the videos are, it's hard for me to word it, you know what I mean, and figure it out. Yeah. But like that, a lot of this stuff, if I had the money or if I had the time, I wouldn't mind researching and going to find some of this stuff. And hey, that'd be kind of cool to talk to the person that ended up buying any of this stuff, or finding it, or if it's lost, or figure out what happened, you know, step by step what happened to it. So
yeah, you know, it's, I think Vampirella represents it, it's really because normally, you know, people love horror,
right,
and people love, you know, the sexy lady, the
right,
damsel in distress,
right.
The
But she's really not a because if you really know her backstory, she's really not a damsel. I'm being honest. She's really
that's what I mean.
More,
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's had sort of merges this,
right.
like, hey, I'm sexy, but I'm the heroine or the main character of this.
Right.
And it really is sort of a shift in horror comics because you never saw that. You
always saw either she was the host, either it was like a Elvira type, and she's the host of the book, and she's never the main character of the book.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the funniest thing is, Vampy 1, the story, James Warren didn't like it because Forrest J. Ackerman created the story. Forrest J. and Archie Goodwin were the two that created the story. He hated it. James Warren hated the freaking issue 1 story. So when they got to the first annual, Forrest J hired another person to draw everything and to retell the story. So the story, if you read issue 1 and the annual, it's two different stories. I mean, the first half of the story is the same, but little bits and pieces he changed. So he made the person change it. So if you read, so it's two different stories.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a lot of stuff I know. It's just, it's a pain in the butt to figure out how to do this in a video without going, hey, why is Jeff going all over the place? Or what, you know, or
no, I mean, I really appreciate your in-depth knowledge of this, because again, you know, like, Vampy is something I do appreciate as a character in the content and comics.
A lot, like I said, a lot of the guys, a lot of the ones a lot of like all our brothers that we hang out with, hey, she's a good, it's good eye candy covers, you know, and that's all you guys know her for.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times the stories are pretty decent. Like, you wouldn't have known what was it? Swamp Thing writer, Adam, what the hell? Alan Moore. Alan Moore's written her. Some famous comic book writers has written her. Mark Millar's written her. What was it? The guy that writes Flex Mentallo, he's done her. Like, there's a bunch of writers that you would least expect that's written her. It's like, holy shit, you know, like, this guy's written a Vampy before. Like, you would not, like, why would you expect Alan Moore to write her? Alan Moore wrote one story. You know what I mean? It's like Mark Millar's wrote in one story. It's like, you know what I mean? A lot of people's written her. It's like, and you would least expect, oh crap, like, one of my favorite writers written her. It's like,
oh yeah, I mean, she spans such a large span of time. It just only makes sense that, and it really, you know, like, the fact that she's still like very popular even today.
Right.
Um,
Not like she said they're trying to get to 700 issues right now. Then they're at like 697 or 699 right now or something like that. So they're trying to get to 700 issues. And Christopher, well, I always get his name wrong, but Caprice or Priest, Christopher Priest is writing her, and Priest is actually writing her decently.
yeah.
That's I haven't had a decent vampy writer in a long time since
Right.
him, since now, because don't get me wrong, there's a lot like Gail Simone's written her. Yeah, like a lot of people's written her, but a lot of people always they all like there's another Amy Chu or whatever's written her or drawn her, and a lot of writers has written her, but they go, oh, let's change the outfit, let's do this,
Yeah.
let's do that.
It is it Boom Studios that has the
No,
IP right now?
it's Dynamite. Dynamite
Dynamite.
has
Okay, Dynamite.
Yeah, Dynamite has the rights. Dynamite has the rights to her, to Red Sonja. Those are the two major ones that they have rights to. So it's like as long as they keep writing stuff about her. And Dynamite didn't get the rights until 2010. So because before that it was Harris Comics had it. And then the main reason Harris went out of business was because of the thing they did previous to that was they came out with, if the vamping magazines were 1969 or so, where they started coming out, and then the last issue came out, the 112 came out. So that was, if defining last issue, if you're going by Warren, is 112. But if you're
Okay.
going to go, because Harris's first issue is 113.
Which
So
one
Harris,
which one would you say people should go back and read? Should they get into the books now, or what would you recommend for
if
somebody?
they're going to get into the books now, I would recommend to you to get into Christopher Caprice's run right now.
Christopher
It's
Priest?
it's actually a decent read, and it's a decent run. But I would go back a little bit from his run, not exactly start right now, but go back to his volume, like his volume one, or you can grab one of your favorite writers that wrote it, like Christopher, like what was it, Mark Millar, Alan Moore, all these guys that have written her before. You can read some of that. Some of those are decent. Depending on what type of writer you like, you never know. Look up the writer. She or he has probably written her before. So it's like you'll be surprised of how many writers have, like Alan Moore. Like I said, the Alan Moore one was a surprise to me because I didn't know he written her, and I read some of his stuff. It was kind of cool. It was interesting. I mean, a lot of the stuff is interesting. But if you want to go back to like learn some of the history behind her, I would say go back on the Warren runs. Those are pretty cool. Those are a little corny, but they're pretty neat. But you know what I mean. That's history back. That's a hit. That's history. There is the how she got created, how everything was. How she first started. So, and then everything else before that is, you know, is pretty much just add-ons. Like a lot of stuff is like the 90s stuff from Harris is just add-ons, add-ons, like the add-on to her story. It's,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, the night. So as good as the '90s stuff was, there was a lot of
yeah.
competing sort of, I guess, content in the '90s. Even
Well,
today,
the 90s, they had a, because the golden age and what I mean, the 60s and whatever had good girl art, but then the 90s had, she
that,
lumps into this, and Lady Death and everybody else, all the females lump into this
yeah,
bad girl art. They were
that girl
considered
art.
bad girls or
There was a
whatever.
lot of. I mean,
So
there were a lot of like risque photo covers coming out in the '90s too. Remember those?
right,
Like the variants that people were like
right,
she's half
like
nude.
double like these double impacts, belladonnas,
Right, right.
like all these
Remember that?
other all those other, you know what I mean, all these other ones. But she got lumped into it where she was from the 60s. a lot of people thought she was a 90s creation, but she was 1969's,
Yeah,
you
she's sort of
know,
the
she was,
original. Yeah, she's the
yeah, she was
original.
the original, if you call these bad girls, so she was the original bad girl. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
she's from the 60s. She's
yeah,
from the early 60s. So
definitely, definitely.
yeah, but it's like I said, 69. So if she came out, it would have been came out a little earlier.
Yeah, in a great year, 69.
Yeah, yeah, like I think it was September, either September or they always confuse the dates, but it's September. Like a lot of people say, oh yeah, she came out in the summer. No, she came out in September of '69. So it's like a lot of people always mistaken the dates because the magazine is always a couple months ahead or a couple months back. I forget, but yeah, but it's September. Everybody goes, oh yeah, no, it's August and is this is that. No, but if you go by the book, it says September on the book. So it could have been August when it came. So yeah, it's just, I mean, it's that, like I said, the '90s stuff was interesting. You know, I mean, there was a lot of foil, there was a lot of bad girl stuff. There was everybody and their mom were collected something. You know what I mean? Or oh yeah, I'm gonna put my kid through college. Yeah, same thing. You know what I mean? It's like,
That
dude,
never
it
happened.
wasn't that never happened. You know what I mean? Unless you went with indie books like super indie. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, unless you had the foresight to go and like, because I think what Action Comics one was like $10,000 back in the 90s.
Yeah,
So
and then that was low at bad. You know, that was
yeah,
high back then. That was high back then.
that was
And
high back
then
then. Yeah, no, you get
yeah,
like
yeah,
ten
and then
thousand dollars for a comic book. Are you insane?
imagine what the Hulk 181 was. You know what I mean? It probably
Right,
wasn't
it
the
was like a
price of
couple
it.
$100. Hulk
Right.
one was like,
Yeah,
I
and then
remember, I remember
nobody expected it to
seeing that
hit.
book in the
Yeah, to hit
LCS,
the
right?
right.
The first, appearance, sort of, I guess the first cover appearance of Wolverine on that Hulk. I remember going to my LCS and seeing that as a wall book,
Uh-huh.
and I think it was like $50. It was like
Right.
$50 at the time, right? Which is like, when you
Unheard
think
of.
about what it's worth now, it was like,
Yeah.
yeah, nothing. It was absolutely nothing back then.
Right. Yeah. Just yeah. It's like, oh yeah, it's $50, dude. $50 of yeah, but if we knew, like, if when we were kids, if we knew the books on the wall were what they were worth now, it'd be
Yeah,
like
I mean,
I
you
would
wouldn't
have
want
went with
to argue with
I would
it.
have paid I would have paid whatever it was, and then going,
I
hey,
would
I'll
have
hold
gone to
on to
every
it,
shop and picked it up.
yeah, and hold on to it. But it was like, dude, we were kids back then, so we didn't know any better. Oh hey, it's shiny, look, it's a shiny book, or
Yeah,
it's
and
a or
Action One is actually, we talk about Action One, but it's
yeah,
different. It's not like, it's on another level because of its
right,
scarcity and
right.
rarity.
Well,
Um,
if you want to talk scarcity and rarity,
Hulk 181s are everywhere.
whoop, yeah, you want to talk scarcity and rarity. This is
Oh,
his, yeah.
nice.
This one's a
Heavy
scare.
one.
This one, yeah. This is the first Frazetta work, and this is hard to come by.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a 1/8, but I really don't care. It's like,
No, it looks
it,
fabulous, man.
yeah. But the 1955. Oh, 1940. Oh, my bad. 1944. So it was before World War II. Or yeah,
Yeah.
before the war.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was during the
So it's
war.
like,
Yeah, it was during the war.
yeah, yeah. So it's a book. Yeah, like that's like I would never like, well, when I first started this back, my major book was the Vampy One, and I thought I would never get it, and now I got that and a bunch of other stuff, but I never thought I would get that. I never thought I would get the Golden Age stuff. I never thought I would get the yeah, and then he had Robert had a hand in it. Robert, a lot of the guys had a hand in getting me that book. So it's like, and then the Vampy One, same thing. So our friend Steve ended up getting me a Vampy 1 4-5. And then I ended up winning the contest and winning first what was it? First Spider Gwen or whatever. So I didn't have no attachment to that book. I won the slab 9.8, and then at the time that book was up high. You know, the price for it was still up in the stratosphere for it. So as soon as I saw this 7.0 at one of my LCSs, I took that and I took my 4.5 and went to trade him for it.
That's right.
Yeah, and I traded him for it. And everybody goes, "Oh, that was a bad trade." Guess what happened the next month? Freaking for Spider-Gwen plummeted. So that wasn't a bad trade.
That was not a bad trade. I remember you telling me that, and I was like, dude.
Yeah. And then the 4.5, and then I traded the 4.5 too. The 4.5 was not worth what that one's worth now. So it's like, so it's like that. And then I have all 3 issues. My Vampy 1, my Vampy 2, and my Vampy 3 are all 7.0s.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Dude, no, I mean, first off, don't think about value, but it's what's valuable to you.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is the value ain't that's not what I'm talking about. The memory of Steve, of all these guys getting me that book is that's the memory is and then going to trade it and trade it up for another one. That's the memory. That's not, you know what I mean? That's not really like the Tally Ho, same thing. Never expected to get it, and then had Robert, Steve, like a bunch of the guys pitched in for my birthday. Got it for my birthday. Unwrapped it. Had no facial. You know, I wasn't smiling. I wasn't, but like I joke around all the time and go, "Hey, that's just my Asian default face or whatever." So I didn't know how to react. Being honest, I opened it and I'm like, "Holy crap!" You know what I mean? That's like, didn't expect to get the book. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
In my head, I was reacting, but out in the open, it didn't look like I was reacting.
That's a special moment, man.
Yeah. It's like just getting books like that, or like my first the Evil Ernie 1 from Attorney. My first Evil Ernie 1. There's a story behind that one where me and Steve drove up to Miami to see one of our friends in Miami. Went to a little con. Another vendor had Vampy 1. So there was 2 books that I wanted at that con, Vampy 1 or the Evil Ernie 1. I wanted that Vampy 1 bad. It was a raw one, and he had $350 on the book. I offered him $200 for that book, cash. Guess what? He didn't want it. He wanted the extra $100, extra $150, and he lost that. He pretty much lost that because then I went to the other vendor over there. He had the Evil Ernie 1. He goes, "Hey, I'll take the $200, and if you can give me a couple $10 books or a couple books that I can throw into my $10 box, you got a deal." I told all the guys, "Hey, I need a couple of $10 book." Every one of the guys handed me a book that they just bought and hey, go here and gave it to me, and that's how I got that book. And then the Evil Ernie 2, there's another story behind that one, is that I started live streaming with Robert, you know, and then ended up meeting Thorough, one of the other guys, and he had a Evil Ernie 2, and he goes, "You and Robert are friends. I'll send it to you for Christmas." He goes, "Did I check my mailbox?" I go, "No." He goes, "It's there." So I go to check, and it was like Christmas Eve, like a couple of days before Christmas Eve when I got that book.
Nice.
So like I said, those books mean those would be the books that I would keep in a box to take with me, because those have memories behind it. Like all the other ones can, nothing against them. All the other ones can.
You don't mind if they.
Yeah.
You want to keep the ones that are special to you. Yeah.
Right. That mean the most. Or like there's another one that I got. That's Big Trouble in Little China that has Lo Pan on it, where I met the actor James Hahn. where he ended up signing it twice. He signed it in Cantonese and he signed it in English.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
another.
cool.
Yeah, that's another one that I would keep in that same pile because I thought I would never meet him, and I ended up meeting him. Man, so it's
He's
like
a
a lot of,
legend,
what I
man.
mean. There's a lot of these books that don't mean a lot, or then there's a lot of these books that have some sentimental value to them, and the ones that sentimental, or the ones that are or a-okay from other people, those mean something to me. It's like artwork, like all this stuff. It's things, but if it has something that, like if it has a meaning, I'm gonna keep it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's like I keep it in, like you were saying, a go box or a go bag.
yeah.
Whenever I hear a storm's coming, my go books would be the Vampy
My go
one.
books are right behind me, so
Yeah. Mine are right behind me too. All those in the case, and then there's one in front of me, and there's a couple of pieces of artwork that I'm gonna take with me. You know what I mean? It's like the piece of artwork behind me. Yeah, a lot of you guys don't know is actually from Sarah's mom. So Holly Frazetta actually did this piece of
nice.
art. So yeah, so a lot of people don't know. And then Sarah, I got a piece by Sarah. So it's like these things mean something. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I ended up finding out Sarah's mom's a big comic book fan like us, and she likes the horror books. You know what I mean? So it's like I gifted her a couple of horror books, and she goes, "Oh, I got something upstairs." Runs upstairs, grabs something out of her art book. Did not expect it. And as soon as she gave it to me, I'm like, "Holy crap!" Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then Sarah sending me, because I had asked her for a piece of artwork by her. She sent it. You know what I mean? And that one got sentimental because I had COVID at the time when I got it. So, and a lot of people don't know that. So that has some sentimental value to me because it's like,
Yeah. Well,
a
I
lot
think
of this,
that
a
goes to
lot of
show
this,
you how wonderful our community is.
right,
There's a lot of, I think, shady people too,
right.
in the community, but um, you
But
tend to
but
know.
it out, yeah. But a lot of the good people outweigh the bad though.
Exactly. Well, and that's what like they're bad people, but yeah, like that the good outweigh the bad, and the bad ones, right? That right off the
Right,
bat they're
right,
shady. So
right,
they're people you wouldn't necessarily form
right,
strong bonds with to begin with. So yeah,
right,
the one of the things why I wanted to do this stream with you is obviously we've gotten to know you as a collector just
right,
through our little conversation here,
right,
but it's also for me, I really wanted to just like um, just spend time, because
yeah,
you're on the opposite side of the country. You're in Florida. I'm in
right,
Seattle. We're literally polar
right. Polar
ends.
opposites. So we're like, and then, but yeah, and then I ended up jumping on one of your guys' Asian American shows. And then I go, hey, we should make this a lot bigger. And then we end up bringing in Katie. We ended up bringing E-Man, and look how big that thing got. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
it got a lot of
yeah,
exposure this year, but
yeah,
more specifically, I just wanted to do
yeah,
something with you because I
right,
just felt like you know you are just one of the like best community members in my opinion,
right,
and us being on opposite sides was
right.
really. I mean, I'm sure we'll meet in person someday.
Eventually,
Honestly, I
eventually,
honestly believe that we're going to meet
right,
somewhere at some point, but
right,
it's really difficult to
right,
kind of connect and coordinate with you, which is why I
right,
wanted to do this like live stream, just
right,
for us to like on a weekly basis check in with each other and
right,
talk what
right,
we obviously have a lot of passion for.
right.
Um,
A lot of passion for all this stuff. Yours is Jim Lee and the other stuff and Asian. I mean, you know what I mean. Another thing that a lot of people don't know, I want to collect Asian. You know what I mean. Asian heroes in general, like what was it? You know, a lot, like everybody thinks, oh, just like booby books. You know what I mean? It's not just, you know what I mean. It's, I'm proud to be Asian person. I'm proud to be, and I want, so like everybody jokes around Asian reputation. Not a you know what I mean. It's just I would like to collect more stuff, Asian heroes and stuff. But if I had the funds, yeah, you know what I mean. But it's
Yeah.
kind of hard, you know what I mean.
Well, like there's so much to collect. Um,
Yeah,
I don't think. I mean, if you want to collect stuff like Asian, again, everybody's preference is different. But
right,
I think what's important is like us being Asian American
right,
members of this community, right? And
right,
there's a lot of other like voices and
right.
you know, I
But
guess influencers
even
out there.
even I mean, we're not a majority. You know what I mean? We're not a minority now, but it's not many. Not many Asian collectors.
We're
And there,
not on the YouTube
yeah,
at least. Yeah,
yeah. It's not many. It's me, you, you know, not many. Being honest, and then a lot of them are camera shy. I mean, even the ones, a couple I know, they don't like getting on this. You know what I mean? It's like it's hard for them. It's like, or they don't got the time or whatever. But they like collecting because I've seen a lot of them. They're younger than I am. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, I'm 38, and those guys are probably in their 20s. You know what I mean? So a lot. So it's like, but because the original idea for another show I had was the younger collector, the older collector, and then the female's idea of collecting, what it was. So that was another idea that I had. But this one's cool because I'm just trying to get back into this. So, get the ball rolling again and because get me more comfortable again, because I don't mind being honest. I don't mind doing this.
yeah.
It's
We're gonna
the
find I think, our rhythm. We're gonna find our
right,
rhythm or our niche
right,
or
right,
something that distinguishes us. But again, you and I wanted to go on, no agenda,
right,
just
right,
shoot the shit and like,
right, right.
um, yeah,
Like I said, figure out the bugs and kinks and stuff, but we'll figure this out
we'll
eventually.
figure it out.
And
And I
yeah,
think we have a
yeah,
pretty good show. Um,
yeah,
for me, it's more about like staying current. That's one thing I think we want to focus on,
right,
just staying
right,
current.
right,
Talking about, I don't want to badmouth anyone in the community or focus on like things going
right.
on in the
Because
community.
that's
Unless,
our being
yeah,
honest. There's already enough of that going around. We
exactly.
don't we don't need that.
We
Being
don't
honest,
need that.
we don't. Yeah, because I don't like it. I don't like getting involved in it. I don't like getting
It
in the
really is
middle of
kind
that.
of just
Yeah.
childish, to be
But
honest.
it's like we're in high. Pretty much, it's like we're in high school again. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like,
What's up, Card Imperial and Comics? Thanks for hanging out,
what's
man.
going on? But it's like being in high school again. Oh, here's the cool click, or here's the golf. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, it's like, or here's the guys that like the Playboy click, or it's stupid stuff. It's like, dude, who cares? We're all on YouTube. We're all collectors.
Yeah,
We all
be
collect
kind,
stuff.
man. Be kind.
Yeah,
Although it's I think a lot of us as just human beings, or just, I guess,
right,
people in general, right? It's in our nature to just be like,
right.
to
Put
just
people,
be
yeah,
what's the word I'm looking for?
put people down.
Yeah, to be negative, basically, essentially, right?
Right,
Just be negative and
right.
um,
I would rather be
be
positive.
selfish,
Yeah, I would.
self-centered,
I would want to be the positive, because I'd rather be the positive side of the spectrum than the negative side of this. But we're gonna
absolutely.
get more people with the positive part of it. I
Yeah.
understand there's going to be negative condemnations of this stuff, but it really doesn't matter. Being honest, we all collect different. We all do different things, and
Right,
that's
right, right. Just focus
yeah,
on, yeah,
yeah,
focus on your collection, focus on what you're doing in
right,
the community. No need to go and
yeah,
watch someone else's content and be critical of that, or
right,
feel the need to talk about people. You
Right.
need to talk about anybody other than yourself, and like
Right.
um, the show, even the shows that where like um, people get on and they
Right.
complain
Just
about like
shoot. Yeah, or just so a couple. Yeah, the shows everybody get on, talk. Bull crap around. It's still better than than some of this stuff. It's just it gets the people, man. It's like it's not, you know what I mean? That's not what this community was built
yeah,
for.
someone's gonna get up and talk about us. I'm sure. Someone's gonna
Yeah,
say, "Hey, did you see that? Did you see those two guys talking last night? Talking
yeah,
and like whatever, whatever." Again, it's probably we're
we're
probably gonna see it and experience it, but it's still
yeah,
something we're not gonna respond to it, right? You and I aren't gonna
right.
respond to whatever.
Nah.
Yeah,
Well, it's honestly it's whatever. It's everybody has their taste. You know what I mean? It's like
absolutely.
yeah, people make fun of me all the time, saying, "Hey, he collects Vampy stuff. He collects Frazetta stuff. He collects lady books." And like I said, a lot of people don't know I don't just collect lady books, but you know what I mean. It's like a lot of people make fun, but oh well, I collect lady books. So what? I like boobies.
Nothing wrong with
you know?
collecting the ladybooks, man.
Yeah, yeah. I
Listen,
know.
not if you're not collecting ladybooks. I just give you the right angle here,
Right, right.
right?
Yeah, but it's like
Oh yeah, some John
yeah.
Byrne.
There's a yeah. It's yeah. Well, like I said, I won't be able to. If I can, I will, Robert. But not able to because of work. Now my schedule has changed since I've been moved to day shift instead of night shift now. So I'll try. but it's
I'll
like
be watching. I'll try to catch the 200th episode. I won't. I'm not going to participate, obviously, but
yeah.
I want to see it. I want to see the 200th.
Yeah. But it's like
What we got on the docket?
yeah. But yeah, we'll talk about it when when it comes down to it next week or whatever. But this is pretty much what the show's going to be like a little bit. But we're going to probably tweak it a little more, change it up. But guys, this is going to be maybe the Double Dragons, maybe the maybe the Double Asian,
Double Dragons. It's going to be Double Dragons.
Double Dragons.
Yeah.
So it's Double Dragons.
Double Dragons. It's 90s.
Right.
It's Asian.
Right.
It's dragons. You gotta love dragons.
Right. So it's gonna be probably the Double Dragons.
And Double Dragons, they were brothers, right? They were brothers.
Right. Yeah. So we're considered, you know what I mean? We're brothers anyway.
Like
so
a brother from another mother. So
yeah. Pretty much it's like so yeah. So this is gonna be the Double Dragons for now.
I'm the older dragon.
Yeah. So I'm the younger one.
Younger dragon.
And then and then if we may have guests. You never know. So we may have guests.
We'll try to get guests on for sure.
Yeah. We'll have guests.
This will morph into like
yeah.
Next year we're going to do the AAPI month again, right? Heritage Month.
Right.
So this will morph. We'll prep stuff and morph into that. Obviously,
one more.
Also a core part of that.
Yeah.
But he's right now focusing on his health, both physical.
Yeah. So, but like I said, so me and Otaku are probably gonna help him out a little more this year because of it. So be on the lookout, guys. So we may have more Asian creators. We may have more. We got more stuff coming down the line. It's just me and Otaku. We're just shooting the shit, and we came up with this, and then so there's gonna be more stuff coming down the line with us. So
absolutely,
you never know. So guys, you gotta subscribe to both of us to figure out what's coming down the line for us. So you never know.
Yeah.
So.
And we're gonna do like themed shows as well. Like for example, Halloween's coming up.
Right.
Next week we got to do a Halloween themed show.
I mean, yeah, I got
a ton of horror stuff. So
I got a ton of horror. I got a ton of horror books. I got
I've only got a few Halloween themed books. So, but
but I got horror books. I got plenty of horror books to hold us down for at least a good hour.
Yeah. Do a little,
but like I said, this show is gonna be just two brothers catching up, two brothers talking about books, talking about pop culture, talking about life in general.
Or that's
You
it.
know what I mean? Yeah, it's
You're right
just
on top.
that's what this should. Yeah, that's what this show is gonna be talking about life, pretty much, or pop
There's no
culture. So
agenda. No agenda
yeah,
here. We're not trying to
no,
entertain people.
right,
If you're
and it's just
entertained, that's great. Uh,
right,
for me, always, even when I was doing stuff on my channel, it's always been about
right. What am
just
I gonna? Because our biggest issue, I think both our biggest issue is figuring out, are they gonna like this or are they gonna hate this? Now I really don't care if people, you know what I mean. I it'd be it'd be nice if you guys liked it, but I don't really care anymore
it takes
because
too much work to make people like it.
right,
You know what I mean?
and
It takes
and
too
the
much work.
harder I've noticed, the harder we work on videos, the less the less that people watch the video. So I would rather just throw something up and say, hey, forget here.
Just be yourself, right? Just be
Yeah,
ourselves.
yeah, yeah.
And for me,
Instead of
it's
try to
always like
yeah,
when
instead of
I
try
do
to
my
heavy
shows.
edit,
Yeah, yeah.
and
For
it
me,
takes
I
forever.
ramble a
It takes
lot. I
right,
ramble. I
right.
also my thoughts aren't always like
Yeah, but now
sequential.
since, well, when you want to show off books, we can do it with each other where you show it off. I go, we can pass it back and forth instead of when you start the ramble, hey, hey Jeff, here, or hey Ataku, you're rambling a little, so let me do something over here. So or what, you know what I mean? It's to help each other out where
I
it
think
cuts
people like
off.
my rambling. I think
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no.
No, no,
I
no. I
always
don't
thought
mind.
people like
I don't mind it. It's just I'm just saying sometimes, so because trust me,
I'm messing with you, bro.
I've done lives by myself, so it's I
It's
respect
hard
you
to
way
yeah,
more.
it's hard to maintain focus. I think.
Right.
I
You,
think as
because you're
comic,
trying to pay attention to
yeah. Well,
to
comic
this
collectors
part.
in general, I think
Yeah.
we all have a little bit of a focus problem, right?
Right, right. Ooh. Shiny.
Ooh, I'm gonna get that book. I'm gonna get this
Yeah.
book, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that's something that I think that's what I appreciate about a lot of other channels. It's like, dude, that
Right.
guy, you just see yourself
Right.
in. Now, obviously, not every channel is like this one where it's just
Right.
uh, we don't have a script. We're just
Right.
talking, right? But there
Right.
are those channels out there where it's well
Well, yeah,
scripted, it's well
yeah.
edited, and we don't want to take
I would
anything away from those guys because it takes a
I would
lot of
love I would
they build up a
don't
big
yeah, I would love to do that. Like I would love to script the Vampy
right,
thing
right.
altogether, but the
I
problem.
love like Comic Tom.
Yeah,
I know a
yeah,
lot of people don't like that guy, but I love Comic Tom's
yeah,
content. And some
right,
of the he does puts a lot of work into it. It shows,
right,
and
right.
the guy has built a reputation for himself,
Yeah.
whether good or bad.
I respect them. Look, I respect them a lot because when I first started, he was one of the ones that actually came into the streams and say, "Hey, great job." Blah 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 blah. I thought, you know what I mean. I wasn't nobody at the time, so it's like I probably had less than 100 subscribers at the time.
Yeah,
I'm at like 390 something.
yeah.
I would like to break. I would like to break 400. Would like to break
The dude
five.
is a savvy entrepreneur. So
Yeah.
you step back, step away from
Right.
his channel and his
Right.
influencing and what
Right.
he's saying on his content. The guy is just
Right.
uh, a very smart
Right.
creator. Okay, very smart guy,
Very savvy person
very savvy
that yeah,
entrepreneur,
yeah,
and you have to give him credit. And I don't think
yeah.
anybody could take anything away
Right.
from him for that. And
Yeah.
people attacking him
Right.
are really just jealous. It's just jealousy.
Right.
So
Right. And he's super, being honest, he's super smart and he's super not, and he's super kind too. So it's like that's one thing
well,
about him.
that part, I've seen him because he lives in
Right.
my area. I've seen
Right.
him
Right.
at shows and
Right.
stuff.
Right.
And he seems like a nice guy. I've never gone up and
Right.
talked to him or gotten to know
Right.
him. I do know people in his circle.
Right.
Like
Right.
Agu is
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
close buddy of
Agu.
mine.
Yeah. It's like
Our guy
Ryan and
Ryan,
all.
that's our guy
Yeah.
Ryan, and
Yeah.
I hang out with Russ all the time up at his
Right.
shop, No Geek Comics,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so just based on his circle of people that he who call
Yeah.
him friends, you know the guy's a good guy, right?
Right.
He's a good guy.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, if you're attacking him and you don't know the guy, then that's more
Yeah.
of a comment on you,
Right.
right? Making judgments about people you don't know, than it is anything else. So
Yeah.
let's just dial down the negativity. If you don't like a guy, you just keep it to yourself. But I
Yeah.
don't
But
understand why you get so much
like,
hate.
yeah. But the younger generation, all they can do is behind a keyboard, man. They're keyboard warriors. So that's the biggest thing is they don't understand. This can hurt. This hurt people too, not
Yeah,
just
like no one wants to
yeah.
see people rag on other people online
Right.
and
Right.
create drama for no reason. It's just yeah,
Yeah.
it's just childish. It's like you
Right.
mentioned, it's like we're back in high school, right? Just
Right.
like
Oh, hey, look at that Asian kid, or look at that kid, or look at or look at this, or look at that, or where with this crew, where with that crew. But it's like people attacking the awards thing. You know what I mean? It's oh well, you know what I mean? You didn't get nominated.
yeah, big
Work
deal.
harder. Big
Well,
deal,
no,
or work harder.
well, first of all, the CBC Comic Book Community Awards. It's a
Yeah,
great awards. Uh, it's just a great
yeah,
event. It's a
right.
great event.
Yeah,
Whether
because
you get
previously
nominated or your
previously there
peers
was
nominate you,
I respect Brian a lot for putting it together because previously there was nothing like that. So
he
and
doesn't
then
need to do all
Brian,
that. It's
yeah,
a
he doesn't
really
have to.
passion for the community that he's
Yeah,
doing
and
this.
he loves the community.
Absolutely.
It's not sure. Then you know what I mean. If you weren't noticed this year, or you won't notice before, try harder. You
Yeah,
might get
well,
noticed.
people need to complain about something, and they obviously
Right,
like
right,
if you're complaining that the same people get nominated every year, well, it's because people think those channels are great, and like
right,
there's nothing wrong with the process. But
right.
um,
Or just
and I think
work
Brian
harder.
he
Yeah,
works to not he makes it so where he's not giving the awards out to the same people all the time. He's trying to like
right. Yeah,
new channels to the community or new content. He's like trying
right.
to mix it up. But at the end of the day, it is a popularity contest, and
Yeah,
the channels that get the most votes or the most nominations, those are the channels that are going to
right.
rise to the top. It's just disappointing to see how we've broken into these like
Yeah.
camps, and it's
Not
like
only that, camps,
appreciate
subgroup,
everything.
like pretty much subgroups. There's in the community. There's so many subgroups of people. It's like, dude, we're one big community. We shouldn't be in this subgroup doesn't like these people, or this subgroup doesn't like. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
there's so many subgroups in this community now. It's kind of funny because when I first joined, I mean, we had that type problem already. We had it, but it wasn't as big as it is because after COVID, the community got even bigger because a lot of people didn't have nothing to do,
hmm
so they ended up popping on. So
yeah,
it's like popping up out of nowhere. So it's like understandable, but
yeah. I
the
got to
big
ask you something. You and I are both, Asian American.
right,
We're very different.
right,
You and I,
right,
we probably look alike. We probably
right,
have similar just
right,
experiences
right,
being Asian, right? But outside of that, we're very different people, and
right.
um, I think people watching us right now probably some of them understand it, but some of
Yeah,
the people
not
might
not a
not
lot. Yeah,
understand that we're
right,
different, right?
right. Oh,
But
Jeff and up the yeah, Jeff talk
yeah,
about this.
those guys are
No,
brothers, right? They're related or
yeah,
something, right? But
yeah, nah.
uh, my thing, well, the question I want to ask you is, um, what do people most misunderstand about you as an individual or just as a member of this community? The biggest I think misunderstanding people have about you. This doesn't have to necessarily even be within comic books, but like when you
Okay,
step outside and you present yourself to the world, and the common, I guess, whether it's stereotypes or just perceptions
Oh
that people
yeah.
have about you?
I
What's
mean,
something that just, I guess,
yeah, like
bothers you?
a lot of the times is I hear little whispers in here and there, but it's more of, oh, he must know, you know what I mean? Oh, he's Asian, he must know some stuff, you know, or it's funny stuff like that, or I mean, I've never had or COVID time it was a little bit worse than it was, but it was more like, oh, he might have this or he might have that, but it wasn't bad. I haven't had many issues. Every time I would have an issue when I was in high school, I would try to nip it in the butt. You know what I mean? I mean, I got in fights before, but it wasn't because it was because them being stupid. It wasn't because of, oh, he's being racist or whatever. It wasn't that. It was just them making fun or them taking stuff from me. It wasn't like, oh, he's Asian. It was more like, oh no, he took my stuff, or that's more than anything. I've never, you know what I mean. Everybody thinks the South. You would think it would be more racist than anything, but it ain't. It's the same. It's the same. You know what I mean? It's the same as anywhere else.
I wasn't asking that question to like, because obviously you and I have experienced racism. We know what
Right,
it
right,
is.
right,
It's there.
right.
But that's not kind of what
Oh, that's not what you
I
were.
was getting at more. I was getting more at like, what's, I guess, a common
Misconception of me.
misconception about who you are that people just
Right.
base off their bias. I guess it's that doesn't have to be racist. It's just
Right,
like,
right, right.
like, no, that's not me. Like,
Right.
like whether, so when you tell people, hey, I collect comics, and like you
What?
mentioned, like, oh,
Yeah,
he's the movie book guy. Does that bug you when people say he's the movie book guy, or he's the
a little bit, but it doesn't. I mean, because it's not that. I mean, I know a lot of stuff about comic books. It's not just vampy stuff. It's not. It bothers me a little bit, but it doesn't bother me as much anymore. It used to bother me a lot more when I first started because everybody goes, "Oh, he just likes vampy. He just likes Frazetta." Not no more, not as much, because now I just lean into it. Now it's like, okay, I do like Vampy, I do like Frazetta, but I know a lot more stuff about them than probably an average person would. So yeah, I do like, you know what I mean. In the beginning, yes, it did. It did bother me a lot that people just thought I collected Vampy books because it was cleavage. It was a cleavage book, or Lady Death. There was or
yeah,
any of those books like Tarot, Witch of the Black Rose, any of that stuff. It was like, oh, because it got cleavage on the cover, that's why Jeff likes it.
yeah,
No, it's just the arts. Like, a lot of people don't know that I like the art in it, because it takes a lot for a person to draw a female in general, because it's not easy to draw in general. You know what I mean? It's especially females in general. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not easy. You know what I mean? And a lot of people go, hey, but like I said, it doesn't bother me as much. So I just if I just I lean into it a little more. Hey, I might be that person, but I'm gonna beat you at the game. Where, hey, I'm gonna know a lot more about that or whatever it is that you get in and say, hey, he's this, he's that. Okay, I'll lean into it more. I'll learn about it more, and then outwit you on it, and and that's how I'm gonna beat the person at the game. Is, oh, he might be a booby book person, but do you know the significance of the booby book?
yeah,
No.
yeah.
So you know what I mean. I'll pull the history behind it. I'll look up I'll look up all kinds of stuff on it. I might be a booby book person, but I'm gonna beat you at the game. Where, hey, do you know what the significance of that book is?
Yeah.
No, but I just know, oh, it's got cleavage on the book. That's all you know. You know what I mean? But not a lot of people would know.
Yeah.
Oh, that might have that might have that on there, but there could be a lot of history behind that book.
Yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
think
I'll
the
just
thing,
lean
the
into
thing
that
that
more.
bugs me about, and this is sort of, it's not that it's racist. I don't think it's racist. I think
Right,
it's
right, right, right,
misguided. It's a
right.
misguided thing, is when people nonchalantly like overlook my ethnic heritage. You
Right.
know, like for example, um, they'll make a comment like, "Oh, he was Vietnamese or something," right?
Yeah,
You
I
know
know
what I
what
mean?
you
Like,
mean.
"Oh,
Yeah.
he was Vietnamese or something," and the guy, and it turns out he's like Korean,
Right.
right? Or a comment like, um, they're talking about Shohei Otani, right, or something.
Right. Right.
Shohei
Right.
Otani is famous. Everybody knows he's Japanese, right?
Right. Right.
They'll be like, um, "What language does he speak again?"
Or they'll go, yeah, or they'll go, oh yeah, he's some type of
He's some
Asian, or
type of
he's
Asian, right? Like,
that's our
yeah,
biggest thing is, oh, he's some type of dude. How it's
he looks Asian, and he's like
right.
maybe
But
he's not even Asian,
one
right?
thing I can say about now and from the 90s from now is they're a lot better on it. They're a lot better about it now, but they can tell the difference now. You know what I mean? It's
And
like
I don't blame people because
right,
oftentimes the people saying this nonsense are
right,
white people, right? They're
right,
white people, and you know, I don't
right,
sit there and go like, "Oh, are you like Norwegian? Are you
right,
Dutch? Like,
right,
what's your background?" But I mean, people know their background. Like you ask white people, what's your heritage? They'll be like, "Oh,
right,
I'm a quarter Irish, like an eighth,
right,
like Scandinavian. I'm
right,
a third Slavic. I'm a fourth, like whatever." They have this like whole like list of like diverse type. This is my genetics and my genetic history from my ethnic
right,
background. They know it. What's really funny is like it never comes to the fore. Like, you don't talk about like that to normal people, right? You just be like, "I'm white. I'm white. I'm American," and it
right.
ends there, right? Um,
when it when he puts squirrels up, it means we're going off topic.
topic. No, well, that's the show, dude. That's the show.
No, he knows. He's just messing
Yeah,
around with me because
I'm sure.
because
I'm sure.
our code.
But
That's our code
yeah,
word
so
for
getting
each
back to
other.
like my point is like, you obviously know what differences are. Like, no one's gonna
Right,
say Italian and
right,
German are the same, right?
right.
No one's gonna
And
say that. So when
our biggest me and your biggest problem is he's
learn
some type of
geography,
Asian.
that's our biggest problem. Learn some
Right.
damn geography, all right?
Or
Look at a map,
he's some
read
type
a
of
book,
Asian.
read a book other than
And then
comic
it's
books,
like, yeah, but it's
and
like
yeah, don't lump us all
you
together
know what a
in like
Korean and you
one
know what a
freaking
you
category
know
because it's
right. Or
annoying.
you know what a Korean person looks like and you know what a freaking Cantonese person looks like. They're
Well, that I won't blame them for
right,
because I
right.
think I can't tell what a Dutch because a Dutch person could look like an Italian person and an Italian like that.
Right.
There's
Right,
no way
right,
they're
right. No,
gonna.
no, but
Yeah,
yeah, no, I'm just
yeah,
I'm just
yeah. But what I'm
summarizing
saying
it,
is like
but
if someone tells you they're Korean, right?
right. But
Or
you're
if
still gonna go, hey, he's some type of Asian though.
yeah, don't yeah. Like if they tell you you're Korean, or if you look
Yeah.
at a name and
Yeah,
you think,
or if I yeah,
that's a
or
Korean
if we
name.
tell them, we're Kanto or whatever, and then they go, oh, he's some type of Asian, but I'm not sure. I'm like, how are you
Yeah,
not
like
sure if he
it
told you
really is
he's
about just
Kanto?
education. Like if you want to take the time
Yeah,
and really, if someone tells you they're Filipino and you don't know that's a person from the Philippines,
right.
then that's just you.
That's
That
on
there's a
you.
problem with you.
That ain't on us.
Around.
That's on you for not
I don't think
knowing
that
what
Filipino
it is.
person has to be
Right,
they don't necessarily have to tell you and explain their whole
right,
cultural heritage and background just to make you comfortable.
right,
Like just read a damn book or
right.
study geography. It's something you should have learned in like fifth, sixth grade. But anyway, I'm that's my
Right.
ranting.
Yeah,
That's the
that's our
end of
rant
my
or
ranting.
whatever. But
That's
we
bugs me.
yeah, but we're
People do
pretty
it all
much
the
gonna cut it.
time,
Yeah,
and
we're
you
pretty
can't
much
get
gonna cut
angry
it
at it.
here.
Yeah,
We're pretty much gonna cut it here. We're at almost 2 hours. So,
Good-
but
it's a good
like I
ending
said,
point.
yeah. But like I said, guys, this is a little thing that me and Taku came up with. So we're probably gonna do something next week too. So be on the lookout. If you're not subscribed to us, subscribe, like, do all the good stuff, and we'll check you guys next week, and we'll see you guys later, and we'll check you later.
Peace, dude.